Welcome back to Rocket Talk. I'm Connor, and as always, I'm joined by,
I'm Johnny.
And I am Luke.
and we are still in the midst of pandemic season. Johnny, how's your Sunday been?
Like every day for the past week, um, it feels like the longest vacation where I'm not allowed to leave my home.
Oh, vacation. That's a fun word to use to describe this. What about you, Luke?
I mean, nothing has really changed for me. I still have to go to work, and so yeah, our production's gone down at my job, and I don't do as much outside of work, but I didn't do much either, anyways. I guess now, just when I go to places, it's more of a pain. Like this morning, I went and got some smoothies at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and the worker came outside to take your order and then went back inside to grab it and give it to you when it's done. And they're only taking cards right now and all this other just stuff to kind of limit as much interaction as possible with everything. But yeah, for me, it hasn't been too much. It's been kind of a lazy Sunday. Been a lot of Animal Crossing playing and
Yep.
nothing else really. So
Yeah, it's the halt on everything has a really I guess all these video games and streaming services are really spiking.
yep,
And
yeah, I did. I did watch Frozen 2 and the Lion King remake over the weekend too with my girlfriend. So I've but outside of that, it's been a lot of just video games and Facebook and Twittering. So
all the days are blending in together. It's
pretty much.
saying we're getting so restless here in St. Paul. But yeah, I guess we could just dive right on into it. So we finally heard from Nintendo, and oh my God, it's been long awaited. Johnny, I'm going to let you kick off with your thoughts on this Direct as a whole, and then I guess we can go a little bit deeper
Direct
to our
Mini.
favorites. Direct Mini. Sorry, Direct Mini. You're
So we
right.
still haven't officially had a full-length Direct either. So that drought continues, but we had finally just a generic Direct.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna say that I wasn't sure. A lot of people are considering this an official end to the drought, but I kind of want to say that it's not. And I'm still not sure exactly what classifies a mini versus a core direct, but I think my theory is that since no new first party games were announced, it was all new information about first party games. That's what makes it a mini rather than a core direct, and it's not like specified onto one game like a Smash Direct or an Animal Crossing Direct or a Pokemon Direct that we've had recently. I thought that this was a good for it not being a core direct and it just being a mini one. I thought it was good. I think that it's very Nintendo fashion to come out of left field and not even tell people that it's happening. Because they usually give us.
They've been saying
days.
for months too. Everyone's been asking for some sort of news. Like we've said over the last couple, most of this podcast. Hey, once Animal Crossing comes out, we know nothing outside of some DLC.
Yeah.
Hey, we know that this game's in development, but that's it. And right now we know, hey, there's some DLC.
Yeah.
And Breath of the Wild sequel is in development, and they're publishing a few games, and that's about all we know still.
Yeah, as far as first party goes, there's nothing new, and there's nothing new. There's no new games, I guess, and it's still kind of like it's definitely. I think this is definitely enough content to kind of tide us over. But I don't want to wait until June to get the next bit of information. They said that we'll know more about. We'll get more into the specifics in just a moment, but the first bit of information we had was that a Smash character will be revealed in June, and like I said, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I don't want to wait until then to get more information about anything. If we can get something in the next 2 weeks, that would be fantastic. Or if if it's mid or late April, great. But I'm not expecting anything in May because they need some time to hype up for June. But if we can get something in April, that would be great because we have nothing at this point, and Christmas is not a thing, I guess, that's happening this year, as far as we know for Nintendo. So
yeah, we're gonna get something, because the only, like I said, so outside of DLC stuff, the only Nintendo things like Nintendo published things we got was a couple indie games that they're just helping backing, like that the puzzle game they added. Good Job. That is
Yeah.
a Nintendo published game, but it's not. But it's like Paladin Studios or something, and that one collection of like card games and board games and like
Clubhouse
bowling, like
games.
yeah, clubhouse games. Yeah, that's. But yeah, it's funny that I saw a tweet and it was just like before the Nintendo Direct, man, I still know nothing about first party Nintendo stuff this year. After Direct, and it was a pace of the same thing. So, but we did see some good stuff though, like you mentioned. We got stuff for Animal Crossing, Smash DLC, more stuff about. I guess Xenoblade. That I guess that would be sort of like one of the big things that we did find out in terms of like uh, a big release because we finally got that release date.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like we even with Xenoblade, it's still a remake or
a port,
I guess
yeah.
a port, yeah, an enhanced port, and like which is great. Like if you were a fan of Xenoblade or if anybody was, which I was not, I'm sure you guys weren't either. Like I've never really played a Xenoblade game, so I don't like know how this game is going to go. I'm gonna get it because I never got the first. I got it the first time when it came out on the Wii, but I don't know if it's gonna be good. But it's still not new because it's an old game. They're just making it again. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah.
2010 is when they first came out in Japan, 2012 for North America.
Mm,
And then the 3DS port that only worked on the new 3DS and then now the Switch.
yeah. But yeah, I would say as far as like the things that I'm personally most excited about, the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition release is something I'm excited about, but not something that like it's definitely like the bottom of my excitement list because it's like I said, I don't know anything about it personally, but a lot of people make a big deal out of it, so I figured I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me that I was most excited about was even though like you with Xenoblade, I'm not like a big fan of this stuff, but the fact that Borderlands and BioShock
Yeah.
are coming to Switch as well because that's just continuing Bethesda's and 2K Games pushing that like, hey, we like care about the Switch. We want this to work, and getting games like the BioShock series, the Borderlands series, which are like beloved games, and having them run, you know, hopefully decently well on the Switch. That'll be another reason for people to to look at getting the Switch because they can play these full-fledged games that run great on the PS3 and the Xbox 360 and the PC. They can play it on the bus, once this social distancing dies down. And we're getting one of the Burnout games is coming soon too that they mentioned in that direct as well. So it's nice to see some more big name third party games, even if they are ports. Because and that's kind of the thing we got. Like a lot of these big name things are ports or DLC. And so yeah, like I said, it was kind of good that it was more of a mini instead of a full fledged. Because besides the 2K game stuff, my other most exciting thing was the Star Wars Jedi Academy thing finally being released because that was one of my favorite Star Wars games as a kid. So, once this kind of dies down, I have a few other games on my backlog I need to get to first, but I'll probably be picking this up in the next couple months. So I'm very excited about that. What about you, Connor? Was there anything in particular that really stood out from you from this direct?
The two things: the Smash Bros. DLC pack with the ARMS characters and the Clubhouse games. Even though Clubhouse games has kind of been a Nintendo thing since like 2005 or something like that, I've never played their versions of it, and so it'll be nice to kind of learn some of those old like board games and card games that I was playing as a kid, but I haven't since being an adult. And then back to like the Smash Bros. Character. Even though we have absolutely no information other than that one is coming, I'm still super excited about that. Yeah, I'm.
I'm excited because I mean I told you guys that recently I learned that ARMS is my most played game, or like the game I've spent the most time playing, and which is like over 130 or so hours.
Jesus.
Yeah, and most of that was with you, Connor. So
Yeah.
and so like summer of 2017 and like the back half of 2017, it was like ARMS all the time, and so this gets me really excited about the game. Again, it makes me. I went back and I played it a little bit yesterday because I haven't played it in so long, and it got me excited about playing the game again because I'm excited to see who the character is going to be. So
Yes, and we have kind of a list of like who we expect it to be. And we have like Helix, Ribbon Girl, Twintel, Min Min, Max Brass, or Dr. Coil.
Yeah.
I've been reading on the internet that everyone's expecting it to be Dr. Coil as a villain. I don't know. Since we have absolutely nothing to go on, I just take it with a grain of salt. But I'm definitely hoping for Helix because he's kind of the wild card of it.
See, what I would almost do is do it kind of like what you have with Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings. Like
Yep.
have it where, because because like they have some different mechanics to them for the most part, but you could have it where like they're almost like skins.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that'd be a good way because like because ARMS is not as compared to the other characters that's in the DLC so far. Like ARMS is like Piranha Plant, where it's like people might know who it is, but Piranha Plant was even a little more known because it's Mario. But
Yeah.
like ARMS is not as big of a pull as say Banjo or and while Terry was not as big of a pull for like newer people in the fighting scene were like, oh yes, like this representation. So it almost would be smarter because ARMS did sell about 2 million copies, but it still is a lesser known Nintendo game. Because it's not Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Animal Crossing. So I would almost if I was Sakurai, I almost would do it's 8 characters in one type of thing. So
I actually that's kind of my theory of what they're gonna do is make like a lot of people are saying that Ribbon Girl is likely to be the ARMS rep, and I hope it's not because she's kind of basic and like she's kind of like a standard character. They don't think that Springman is going to be the fighter because he's already
a trophy.
a trophy fighter, or assist trophy, and so which makes sense. It's never been like stated that a trophy fighter cannot also become a main fighter, but it's kind of been strongly hinted at. So so a lot of people think that it is Ribbon Girl, and I would much rather it be anybody that we listed, like Helix, Twintel, Min Min, Max Brass, or Dr. Coil. But I do think I would love to see an 8, like of the 15 playable characters, 8 of them chosen, and they're the different skins, like Bowser Jr. and the Koopalings. And as soon as I saw that it was going to be from ARMS, and they didn't announce it, I kind of thought that like any one character that they announce at this point is going to be a disappointment, because at that time when they said like before you knew who it was, if they were like it's going to be Helix from ARMS, that'd be great because no one got their hopes up about Twintel or Min Min or Dr. Coil. But if they say it's from ARMS and people are like, oh, I really hope it's my character, then everyone's going to be excited when half of the roster is chosen, so
yeah.
I think
because you'll still have people disappointed either way, unless they want to just go above and beyond and make it so all 15 characters are playable. But yeah, it's the one I'm really interested to see though too with it is how, just like when they announced characters from Street Fighter and even in the case of Little Mac, like when they put in characters from other fighting games, it's gonna be interesting to see how the mechanics of ARMS will be integrated into Smash and what they'll do to make, because there's the mechanics of ARMS is a lot different from the mechanics of Smash, just like Street Fighter is a lot from Smash, and so it's gonna be interesting to see how someone like, whether it is Ribbon Girl or a collection of characters, how will they play compared to your normal Smash character like a Mario or a Samus or the other fighting characters like Ryu and Ken and all that.
Yeah, and like I think that because ARMS' whole thing is that they can fight from like 30, 40 feet away from each other. Like that makes it so unique. Whereas like Street Fighter, it's like, yeah, it's a little bit more realistic with like the art and the fighting style, but I think it's probably mechanically a lot easier to incorporate Ryu into Smash Bros than it is to incorporate an ARMS character, because
Yeah, for
now
sure.
presumably all of the attacks can be long range, and that is going to be crazy for the battlefield.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be, if they have like someone like Ninjara who's just crazy fast and has insane reach. It's just gonna be straight cheese the entire time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna see there's gonna be some sort of thing where their range is severely nerfed compared to what it is in the regular games. Because yeah, it would almost be unfair if, because you could be on the left side of the battlefield and then just do one big punch and then just knock off like a lighter character like a Pichu can just be like completely knocked off like that.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
really hope maybe we'll get Master Mummy. That'd be really cool, because he's one
That
of
would
my
be awesome. That would be the worst, but it would be awesome.
big buff guy that kind of has long range. Like, oh, that'd
And
be great.
heals himself.
And heals himself.
Is there any particular reason that like the talk like the rumors are that it being Ribbon Girl, is it because she's on the cover? Is that it?
It's because Springman and Ribbon Girl are kind of like the male and female
mascots.
Mascots of the ARMS game, and Ribbon Girl is safe, and I feel like they'd probably go with the main mascot if they were going to do that. But then again, it's Nintendo, and maybe they'll go with Helix, because I think that it's either like Ribbon Girl is the safe choice and Helix is the weird choice, but everybody else is kind of like, I feel like it would. Max Brass has a good chance because he's like the most famous in world. He's most famous ARMS fighter. So honestly, I would say it's probably Ribbon Girl, Helix, or Max Brass, because those three are like they mean something to the game, the community, or Nintendo themselves. So, but I think that's why Ribbon Girl. A lot of people think that because she's just a female Springman.
Yeah.
And also, everybody's getting their own stage, and Ribbon Girl's stage is very popular because it's like a concert with those blocks,
Mhm.
And so that could be a really unique one. Helix has that lab, that like lab with the green goo canisters.
Yeah.
So that's what makes him a good choice too. But then Max Brass's stage is very plain. So his
It's just a classic fighting.
yeah, it's
stage.
just an arena. So so that's kind of what knocks him down a few points, I think. So to me, I think that it's either going to be Ribbon Girl or Helix. Which, if it's Helix, I'm sure you're going to be really excited about that,
Yes.
Connor.
Yes, I am.
Helix was Connor's go-to fighter for ARMS, Luke. He's this green blob guy.
He's weird. Yeah. He's I like him because aside from Ninjara, he's also one of the more evasive characters.
Yeah, definitely. And he's funny, which is really, like, we don't have a lot of funny characters in Smash Bros. A lot of them are serious. So
He's much
it'll
more
be nice.
eccentric than like basically all the characters.
Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
there's
So
not a lot
besides
we can
that-
say. So
Yeah,
more about
besides that, DLC wise, we did get the announcement of Animal Crossing events, and we'll talk more about Animal Crossing later, as that's the main topic for this episode. But yeah, they're gonna have the Bunny Day thing leading up to Easter, but they're not gonna call it Easter to, but like basically, it's the Easter like event, and they'll have something for Earth Day. And I'm sure they're going to have some sort of thing around the start of the summer and all these other big holidays. So it'd be nice to see some of this exclusive stuff. Ways, the nice thing is, like, this will be ways to always get people to come back to Animal Crossing every few weeks, every few months. Other stuff we got some more stuff about the Pokemon DLC for Sword and Shield, and for the DLC for Ring Fit Adventures as well. So
yeah. And Ring Fit Adventure, that DLC was a shadow drop, so it's already out. I don't have Ring Fit Adventure because
And also,
my neighbors wouldn't appreciate it.
And also, that game is like sold out now too. Like I think so. Obviously, all the Switches are sold out right now. And then I want to say Animal Crossing and Ring Fit are like the two hardest games to find at places.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I got Animal Crossing day one because I'm sure with like how isolation is like how it's required throughout the country that there's going to be something that people need to play, and Animal Crossing is arguably the best Switch game right now to get for that. So
Yeah, we actually had a good amount of Shadow Drop stuff. So we had that DLC. We had the Star Wars Jedi Academy that I brought up, which was it's a port of a early 2000s Star Wars first-person shooter / third-person adventure. Panzer Dragoon, which was a Sega game on the Dreamcast, I want to say. The only reason I knew what Panzer Dragoon originally was from the Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed, because the first game got a remake that just came out on Switch, and then there were some other things. Oh, that Nintendo puzzle game that they're publishing, but yeah, we got a bunch of stuff that got shadow dropped that day, so that was nice too. That people had a lot to do on a Thursday, whatever day it was. My days get mixed up.
I don't know if you guys would know something like this, but did they shadow drop a bunch of stuff because that was already planned, or do you think they pushed forward some release dates because of isolation?
I think so. They probably moved a couple things up. Like I bet it was probably ones that some of this DLC or some of these games they were just kind of trying to figure out the exact release date. And they're like, yeah, sure, might as well. But I bet, yeah, they did kind of push things up. Like if it was one that Panzer Dragoon was gonna come out in May, they were just gonna do it in right now, then, just that way it's out. And actually, the Panzer Dragoon remake is a Switch exclusive on for the foreseeable future. It's launching first on the Switch before it'll get published on the Xbox or the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not getting as good of reviews as the original, so we'll see how much of an impact that has.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, otherwise,
here?
Otherwise, it was Clubhouse games, Pokemon. It was a good direct. It wasn't anything spectacular in my eyes. The joke that we still know nothing about non-DLC first-party releases, but it was good to finally get something out of Nintendo.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. And it's nice because we finally heard from Nintendo like we had been wanting the previous episodes, but also we finally heard back from Sony for the first time in a while. Not that it's also anything spectacular, because I know, Luke, you watched the specs were revealed for the PS5, and you said that presentation was a snooze fest.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So it's and so it was crazy because I've played all the PlayStations. That's been like a huge part of my video game livelihood. And Mark Cerny, who was the architect for the PS4 and now the PS5, he did the presentation, and like he's a huge part in terms of what he's done for the video game sphere. He's helped develop. He helped produce Sonic Adventure 2, the Crash Bandicoot games, Spyro, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, God of War, Killzone, Knack, The Last Guardian, Spider-Man, Death Stranding. Like he's been
all.
Yeah, it's like he's and some of it it's just been like he's been consultants, and then others he's been like executive producers. But like the fact is, he's had his hand in some of the biggest releases on non-Nintendo consoles over the last 30 years. And so
he has his name, even if it wasn't a big contribution to it. He has his name stamped to it still.
Yeah, and so when he has it with a bunch of beloved games, and then he was one of the main architects that designed the PS4, and so he gave it. It was kind of a goofy presentation because he was standing there and they CGI'd like a fake crowd into it, like it would be because they were supposed to give this at the Game Developers Conference, the GDC, But with the whole Corona thing, they did have to push it off.
They're just being
And
humorous
so,
about it. That's really
yeah,
that's
it was just because they would just have like CGI people. You'll have to go watch like some clips from it. But yeah, it was just a very kind of boring presentation because he went over a lot of the specs for what its CPU is, its memory, its storage, the ways it's using the hardware for ray tracing and sound capabilities and all. It was like there was a lot of interesting stuff that came from it, but it was a lot of stuff that went way over my head. And this was the first time that we've really gotten news out of the PlayStation 5 in quite a long time. And comparatively, when they did the same thing for the PS4 in 2013, by this point we knew a lot of these specs, but we also knew a little bit more about like how it would look for games that were being developed for it. We saw previews of games. We knew what the controller looked like. We had a better understanding by the end of March of what the PS4 is gonna be like than we do right now the PS5. So hopefully we get more soon too. I'm sure also Sony has plans for at some point in June to just the summertime to give a lot more out, because they're still planning on releasing this in the holiday season, and so they really kind of need to amp this up if they want people to know that this is coming out and they want to get it. So,
well, I mean, even though it's not quite as powerful as the Xbox Series X is going to be, they have way more momentum from the PS4 and from specifically like PlayStation exclusive games than the Xbox One did, because the Xbox One didn't flop or anything like that, but it was poorly reviewed, I guess,
yeah.
compared to like
So
the 360. So it's probably going to outperform as far as marketing and sales. It's going to outperform the Xbox.
yeah. So the PlayStation each generation PlayStation has done better than the competing Xbox. Even the PS3 eventually passed the 360. But yeah, and the thing too is people are looking at some of these numbers like, oh well, the PlayStation CPU is an 8-core AMD Zen 2 with a 3.5 gigahertz frequency variable, and like the Xbox is like 3.8, or I that one I don't know the exact number, but it's one that they're so comparable that it's like the Xbox may have a higher variable frequency, but then the PS4 has a faster read rate for its storage, and it's a lot of stuff that's they're gonna have around the same specs. So it's not gonna be ones where like, oh, a game on the Xbox Series X is gonna look 10 times better than a game on the PS4 or the PS5.
For sure not. No.
But yeah, but them having the momentum of the PS4 massive success after the Xbox One, stumbled, and so yeah, they do have a little bit more leeway, but they need to be careful because they also had the most leeway going into the PS3 generation, and they dropped the ball hard on that one too, and it took them 2 or 3 years to finally get a foot in the door and then catch up to where then by the end, the PS3 had a good life, but the PS3 and the Xbox One both had rough starts to the life of their consoles, and both never fully recovered to the same level that their competitors had. So the one thing though I am very excited about that they've talked about is with the new with them switching to an SSD based hard drive. It's going to help a lot with the memory. One of the biggest issues with the PlayStation 4 right now is when a game updates. Let's say it's Call of Duty, for example. The newest Call of Duty is around 120 gigabytes of stuff with all the game files.
Mm-hmm.
When you update a game on the PlayStation 4, it'll download your 10 gigabyte update, and then it has to copy the entire game's files back onto your PlayStation. So a game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare that is 120 gigs, that process takes an extra 45 minutes to an hour because of how big it is. So it's one like my internet speeds. I downloaded a 10 gigabyte update for Modern Warfare in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then it took an hour for it to finish copying, so then I could play it. So So that issue is going to finally be gone, and like that's a huge hindrance, because it's like, yeah, a game like a Fortnite that is only like 20 gigs, or a small indie game that's like Sonic. If they put a Sonic Mania update in like right now to fix a couple bugs, I'd be able to play Sonic Mania in like 5 minutes, because the game's only like 500 megabytes, and so an update would take a couple seconds to download, a couple seconds to copy, and so I'd be in and out basically. Where yeah, these bigger games, Call of Duty, The Last of Us Part 2, God of War, it takes time. So
Man, that just sounded exhausting for
yeah,
how much waiting. Ugh. But yeah,
yeah.
good
I
thing
mean,
that's
speaking of updates, another fun one I want to just quickly touch on before we move on to the main topic of the week. So they ended the seasonal support of Crash Team Racing. So instead of having like a Grand Prix event once a month, now they'll just do more sporadic updates, kind of like Nintendo with adding games to the SNES library.
Hmm.
And so they added a few extra characters, like the lab assistant enemy, like just your generic Goomba like enemy, or Eggpon. And then they also added a secret character that they've been hinting at for about 3 or 4 months now, that each track has a hidden Beanox crate. So just the regular Crash crate with the Beanox logo. If you find all 40, whatever, how many tracks there are, you unlock a Iron Checkpoint crate character from Crash Bandicoot 3. So you are literally just a crate, it's and what's funny about that is like this is a thing that's been like a joke on the Crash Reddit and on message boards and YouTube for a while now. People were like, make this the character next, so people would Photoshop the crate over the trophy girl's face, and like make him a character, you cowards. And so Beanox did it, because they're just, and so it just continues to make this game like one of the greatest love letters to any fan base I've ever seen. And it is so funny, because you're just a crate, and each character has their own victory animation when you win a race online, or when you win a cup race in single player. And like they all do stuff, like Crash will do his dance, or Dingo Dial will fire his flamethrower, and the crate is just sitting there, like win or lose. When it wins, it's sitting there upright, and when it loses, it's like face down, and it's just like it does nothing. Like while Cortex is crying for losing, the crate's just there, and like it has sound effects. It's just a literal crate, but
That's amazing.
That's
awesome. Yet another example of producers listening to developers listening to their fan base, which only makes the experience that much better.
I love it. This whole thing has been that, like, there's so many, like, they've listened to the fan base, and with that they fixed a few things with the game. It's amazing. But moving on to the topic of the week for this week, we wanted to spend our episode talking about Animal Crossing New Horizons, since that is, still the new game. At this point, it's been out 9 days, so we're almost to that point now where we can see everyone who got it day one, how many hours they have. So we'll know how many hours Johnny will have on it.
Yep.
But I just want to, how's everyone's islands so far? Johnny, why don't you start? You probably played the most out of us three. So tell us about your island so far.
Yeah, so my island is named Shirovia, after my cat Shiro, because I spent weeks trying to think of a name, and I could not think of anything at all. I was going to make a reference to a Legend of Zelda game, but then I couldn't decide on one, so I was like, well, Shirovia it is. I started out with Biff and Flo in my town, and since then Biff is a hippo and Flo is a penguin, and since then I've gotten Egbert the rooster, Audie the wolf, Poppy and Marshall are both squirrels, and I think that's it. Yeah. I'm oh, today is Biff's birthday, by the way.
Oh,
So
happy birthday to him.
I hope you got him a nice gift.
I did. He had a actually, if you go into his house, he has a big birthday cake, and Egbert was in his house. Like they were like dancing around. They do this like weird dance. Like instead of like their normal walking animation, it's kind of like this happy like little skipping like thing that they do, and they're like dancing around the cake. And so I just got a DIY uh, like recipe for a just an iron like bench or something that it looked really like it was really nice. It looked like it had like spirals, and it looked like very like sleek, and I don't know what it was called exactly. I can't remember, but I just made it, and I was like, I don't know, I like this, but I don't know where to put it in my house, so I'm gonna give it to Biff. And at first I tried giving him 1,000 bells, and he's like, I don't know that I should take your pocket change. And I'm like, okay, 1,000 bells, I consider that a lot, but all right. And so he's like, I can't accept this, and he gave it back to me. And then I gave him that bench instead, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I'm pretty awesome." But Biff is definitely my favorite character in my town right now. He's a hippo. He's a red hippo that loves working out, and he every single time without fail, if you talk to him, he'll talk about either just having worked out or just about to go work out, or that if he's sitting down, he says it looks like he's sitting, but he's actually doing oh god, he's just doing an exercise. Um, uh, but the funny thing is that I've never actually seen him work out. He just says that he does a lot. So I don't know. Maybe he's one of those guys that talks about it but never actually goes. But either way, my island is great. I don't have the terraforming ability yet, but I should soon. Oh, and tomorrow, I get the Able Sisters store opens up in my town.
There you go.
So I can finally buy some clothing. Um, my villager Egbert, the rooster, I'm pretty sure he's a psychopath.
Say what now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to explain
He
it.
he talked about how a lot of people like to say that pineapples don't belong on pizza just because it's the popular thing to say, but they actually do. And I'm like, yeah, you're totally right. And he also talked about how people like he's like, yeah, that happens a lot. People like to do different things just because they're do or say different things just because they're popular, whether they mean it or not. Like being afraid of clowns, or hating the word moist. And I'm like, I've been saying this from day one that like people don't actually hate pineapple on pizza. People are not actually like afraid of the word moist, and clowns are not scary. Like outside of Joker and Pennywise, clowns are not scary. But then he talked about eating moist clowns on pizza. So then I was a little concerned.
It's just like, ooh, buddy, let's
What?
chill out there.
Say what now?
What's your fruit?
He said moist. He said I'll eat moist clowns on pizza. But my fruit is peaches. I have the butt fruit.
The butt fruit.
Thick.
Yeah.
And what's probably the best piece of furniture you have in your home right now?
So I have a big, I think it's called a high-end stereo, and I don't remember where I found it, but it's this big stereo that I love to have. Like, and so every single day I go to the like town hall or whatever it's called, the resources, the whatever the building, and I buy the newest KK slider track. And the next day it'll get sent to me, and then the next morning when it gets sent to me, I install it into my high-end stereo, and that day I play the newest KK slider track that I have. And so I have like 6 or 7 at this point. But yeah, every day is playing something different, and I'm going to get every single KK slider track because of my then I can play it because of my high-end stereo.
Amazing. And then let's move on to all of us talking about overall thoughts after all of us go. Here, I'll go now too. So my island. Oh wait, one last thing. Roughly how many hours do you think you have on the game so far?
So my first few days I was playing it a lot, but the past 3 or 4 days I really haven't been playing it that much. Mostly because I've been busy with doing work from home. So I would say at this point, I've made maybe 30 hours in 9 days. So
It's like 3
You're
hours a
holding
day.
back, man.
yeah. So
Usually,
can tell
you should normally you should be at about 30 hours day one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I can play about 30 hours in a day. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to see with my friends list, like tomorrow and the next day, like once we start hitting that post 10-day thing, like how many hours I'll have on the Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah, my island's been going good so far too. So since Nintendo had the weird one island per console rule, Abby and I have been sharing our island together. So my island is named Hushed Rock, which is a reference to Silent Planet.
Lame.
So I was like, what should my name be? And she was like, she's something Silent Planet related, since they're one of my favorite bands. And so I did, Hushed Rock.
That's amazing.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Halloween edition kind of thing. It should be Hushed Rock should be like ghost themed or something.
Well, what's funny is one of Abby's friends, her island named is New Horizons. Like she just didn't even try. But you teach their own. Blake's our friend Blake. His is Patty's Pub from Always Sunny.
That's right. I told him he should have done Dynasty, and he's like, man, I should have done that.
Oh, too late now. But yeah, so far it's been good. Abby and I's fruit is apples. So yeah, so we're different because a lot of my friends have peaches and oranges. But now everyone has trees for everything, and they have all the fruits. Yeah, my villagers I have is Agnes, who is a pig, and she's always just very, she's always like super nice and respectful, and always just like so happy to see me. And then I also have Genji, who is a jock rabbit, and he's always like, oh, I'm gonna catch the biggest fish, and it's just like, okay, dude. But yeah, it's funny because Agnes is always just doing, just like enjoying the nature, and then and Genji is just trying to catch try to be like, yes, look at me, big, strong, and it's just like, all right, dude. I did invite Ketchup, and I can't remember who else I invited, and Abby's invited one other person when we've used our Nook Mile tickets to go to a random island. So we should have a few more coming soon, once everything gets all up and running, because we didn't get the game till Monday or Tuesday when I got it in my GameFly. I think it was Tuesday when I got it in my GameFly trial. So we've been playing pretty much nonstop, though. I'll bring with me to work, and it's been slow, so I've been playing it a little bit at work. And she's mainly played it at night, and then like today, we've like pretty much just played it all day, and so we've done a good amount so far. Probably my favorite piece of furniture so far. Ooh, I don't have a stereo yet. Man, I don't know. I do have some fun thing. I just have some fun like goofy things. I do have a smoker, and then I bought a barbecuer as well. So I have both of those outside. And a water cooler like what you'd have on the sideline of a basketball game. But yeah, I'd probably say my smoker and my barbecue. My favorite thing too is how you get these from presents and gifts in the mail. Shaking trees. Abby shook a tree and got a refrigerator. It's like, yes, nothing like shaking a tree in a fridge.
That's such an Animal Crossing thing. Like, I love it.
It's so goofy. But yeah, our museum's open, and it's each day we're adding more and more to it. And it's always funny when we go during the day and Blathers is like wakes up from his nap.
Yeah.
That when you give him some sort of bug, and it's just like, dude, this little roach is not gonna hurt you. It's okay.
I saw a TikTok of somebody that was like, anytime you give Blathers a bug, and it was this guy going,
yeah, and that
it's so
that
funny
is
because he's an owl and he's afraid of bugs, and I'm like, well, like, what are you doing?
You give him a fish, he's like, hell yeah, and you give him a bug, he's like, homie, whoa. Get that demonic thing away from me. Please go away.
Any closer.
Yeah, it's funny. And we just got a buddy of mine, Jamie. She came in she was very clutch and gave me 20 iron nuggets, so we
Wow.
could,
Noise.
so we could finally pay off or donate the last pieces we needed for Nick's Cranny. So tomorrow we'll have that open, and hopefully soon we'll try to get more stuff because. Yeah, that's just been the issue. Is like we're slowly getting stuff, and we're a few days behind. That everyone's like, yes, here's my, like here's my shop, here is my clothing store, here's this, and then we're like, oh yes, we just got our houses, and so. But yeah, it's been going good so far. Roughly, I don't know how many hours I have so far. Combined, Abby and I have a lot because it'll be funny to see in a couple of days what ours is up to, but.
You guys can play together, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
we have more fun with when you play as like the follower or whatever they call it. There's not as much you can do.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like there, and like everything you pick up goes into the recycling bin. So like we don't, I don't know, like we've done it a couple times, but for the most part we just kind of take turns.
Mm.
But what's been fun about that though, since I've mainly played at work, I'm mainly playing in the 10 o'clock to like 4 o'clock hour, and then she's playing in like the 5 to like 9 range. So it's been nice because we've both been able to get some of the different bugs and fishes, and all that, because like I'll get a bug that is only there in the mornings. She gets one that's only there, like a moth, at night. So that's been good. But yeah, it's gonna be funny because we've played pretty much nonstop today. I don't know if she's still playing right now, but if she is, then we're running probably close to 11 hours straight of it between the two of us. So
Wow.
Nice.
yeah. What about you, Connor? And how much have you played of Animal Crossing? And then kind of tell us about your island and all that.
Well, it's mainly M's, and I played a couple minutes here and there, but I watch M every morning for like a solid hour and a half. She started off with peaches, and then she also got more of those trees, and now she's got peaches, pears, and apples, I think.
Hmm.
So she's really put in some hours today. I think she was playing for about 4.5 hours today, 5 hours, which is a long time for her.
It just goes by so quick. Like
It does.
Yeah.
you would think, and it's just like, you're just fishing and picking up weeds and hitting trees, and all of a sudden 5 hours. I go,
Right? Yeah.
I feel bad for kids though who play this because they think like picking weeds is like this nice, easy, fun thing to do, and then they like actually find out that picking weeds sucks. Like that is that's such a satisfying thing in the game, and in real life it's horrible.
It is. It really it sucks.
You telling me that you can't carry 99 weeds in one little pocket space?
Yeah, no. Oh man.
With monetary value as well. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's the funny thing too. It took us a couple days to realize that you can select multiple items at once when you are selling them to Timmy.
Oh yeah.
So we would like sell our 99 weeds, and then sell our dab, and then sell our common butterfly. Yeah. I did find a way. If you really want an easy 10,000 bells, just buy a Nook Mile ticket and then sell it. They're 10,000.
Wow.
So
Right.
yeah, so it's 2,000 miles. You can get that relatively quickly if you like do some of the Nook Mile Plus challenges. So it's like you buy a couple of those. That's how I paid off the last like 30,000 of my initial home debt. Was I bought a couple tickets, sold them. That, or you go to a friend's island that has a bunch of fruit that's not your own, and then just take it. I do have one thing too. I'll let Connor get back to it also. So since today's Sunday, turnips were for sale.
Yes.
And Abby and I, since we hadn't played much Animal Crossing before this, we knew, like, I was like, oh yeah, I know these are important, but let me go look it up. And so, but it's like, should I just buy the max I can? I was like, yeah, sure. So she bought 28,000 bells worth of turnips. So she has 290 turnips turnips right now sitting in her home.
That's amazing.
Waiting for her to sell them.
So she knows that she has to sell them though this week, right?
Yep. Yeah, I told her that. So
Okay.
hopefully, yeah. So since she has them in 3 like groups, she'll probably. I told her, hey, sell it. Don't do all at once. Do one day, and that way, if you sell it on Monday, and you only get 100 bells a turnip, and then Wednesday it's 150, then you can make some better money back.
How much did you buy each turnip for?
98 bells, I think.
Oh wow, not bad. So Connor, I don't know if you know this, but it's the Animal Crossing stock market, STALK market. And so you basically buy on Sunday. You buy turnips for a certain amount. It changes every Sunday. Certain amount of bells, and then Monday through Saturday, but never on Sunday. You're allowed to sell those turnips, and sometimes it'll be worth less when you sell it. Sometimes it'll be worth more, and you never really know. So
you take a gamble because they expire, like they rot that following Sunday. So if you don't sell them, then you have rotten turnips.
Yeah. And you bought them for nothing.
That's interesting. Yeah. I don't even know. I wonder if M knows that. I should talk.
Yeah, so you can only buy them on. It's only like 6 to noon or something. It's a very peculiar time. Like you only Sundays, and then you can't sell them until the next day. So yeah, so Abby has 300 turnips just sitting waiting.
That's amazing. She has 300 turnips in her pocket at some point.
No, they're in her. So she has them on 2 nightstands. She has next to her bed, and then one just on the floor.
Oh, just threw 100 turnips on the floor.
Mm-hmm. But we kind of got sidetracked. So go back, Connor. And so you've been watching her play a lot.
Yeah.
What fruit did you say you guys have on your island again?
Started off with peaches.
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
right. The butt fruit.
Butt fruit. Yep. So come visit us. It's her island name is Denmark.
Oh, that's
I don't know why. It just is Denmark.
All right.
And the best piece of furniture we have a smoker, but we also have the stereo. She really, really did not want the stereo, and I was like, I'm an audio guy. You better get that thing. It's cool.
Oh, wait. No, I just remember the best thing I bought. I was visiting Blake's Island earlier, and I went into the Nook's Cranny, and one of the items they had there was just a stack of files. It was like 2,000 bells for just like a bunch of just like random like files. Like, yes. So I haven't put that in my house yet, but there's going to be a big stack of files just chilling, and that's the best thing that I have.
Good. Files for Blake File. Good for him.
Anybody visiting your home knows that you are a hard worker, and you have a lot of work to do.
I'll have that next to my Switch. And,
yes.
On my cardboard box.
Exactly.
Well, man, every day I just like find new stuff on Twitter and Facebook though that just like there's so much random stuff that you can just get. Just like
exactly.
Who at Nintendo was just like, hey, you know what would be great to put in here? Just a big old pile of paper.
Well, there's a in my Nook's Cranny today they were selling a retro gas pump. And
oh yeah, I think Blake has that too. The best.
So it's this old red rusty like gas pump, and I I didn't buy it because I don't know what I would have done with it, but I was
you would have put it up in your bathroom, obviously.
Yeah, where else is it gonna go?
The funniest is so I just did the first upgrade to mine, so my room is bigger now. But I visited places in none of their homes, and like Blake, he has like the 2-story, like the 4-room one. Yeah,
is he time traveling?
I don't know. We can ask him later. But he like all of his rooms are getting like pretty fully furnished, and then his bathroom is just a shower and a bidet, and it just made me laugh because it's so funny.
Wow.
Have
you guys had the Castaway yet?
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Gulliver.
Yep. And then I also had the Spirit.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Wisp, yeah.
And at first, when I briefed, I was like, is that a boo? And then, nope, it was just... And then it had a Wisp, and I was like, this isn't Sonic Colors. But, yeah, I helped Wisp, I think, last night or the night before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had both of those. Yeah, and then So then, what are you guys' overall thoughts then on the game so far? So we've all had roughly a week to play it. Some obviously John's played it more than Connor and I have, but what are you guys' thoughts on it so far?
I'm not even playing. I've been enjoying watching it because it's just so relaxing. It's the characters are so much more productive than I am in real life, and I love it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You go into their house and sometimes they're like working on something in the DIY workshop, and I'm like man, like I'm just playing Animal Crossing.
Get my shit together. Yeah.
But I love it. I mean, I've always been a big fan of the series, and so now this is the first console game that's been out in like 12 years, something like that. So it's a lot of fun, and there's so many things that they added to like really make it more personalized. And one thing that I really love that one thing I've noticed, I guess, is that it's definitely a slow burn, I think. Because in the older games, you start with nooks, crannies available. The Able sisters are available. You have like 8 villagers in your town already. You're just paying stuff off and talking to people. But this time, it's like you have nothing. You don't have a store. You don't have a clothing store. You have 2 villagers, and that's it. And but eventually, I mean, I've seen some of the like terraforming projects that people have done, and they just look so cool.
Those
like
cheaters.
I know. I have so many ideas of things that I want to do, and this game allows me to do it, which no other Animal Crossing game has before. So I'm loving it. I'm excited to see what I'm able to come up with later, like in the next few weeks and months, and I'm excited to see what Bunny Day and Earth Day and the other holidays that are coming up are going to be like. Yeah, I think it's definitely it's the best Animal Crossing game that's ever been out. So, and the music is so relaxing.
It's so relaxing. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm someone who, I'd never had to even like, it wasn't even like I've played ARMS, briefly.
Mm-hmm.
I've played The Sims briefly. I've played this. Like there's a bunch of stuff where it's like, oh, I haven't really played it, but like I had never played a single Animal Crossing ever before New Horizons. And yeah, it's been like a lot of fun, because it's addicting, it's relaxing. You can do so much. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun to see everything you can do, and even though some of these people have cheated and time traveled to go and get a little further on, it's still crazy to see like what all you can do. It shows. Actually, this game kind of shows how much of an impact Minecraft still is having on games, because some of this terraforming stuff, is coming as a result of Minecraft success. And the gap, and so sure, New Leaf came out in between it, but since this is the first one since City Folk, this is the first Animal Crossing console release since Minecraft came out. So you also have that, because Minecraft came out in 2011, officially 2009 when it was in its alpha. So and then since that game is one of the most influential games of all time, regardless of how people feel about it, its impact, it still is affecting series like Animal Crossing, and it's one for good reason. Like, to terraform your own island, that's a huge replayability thing you can do, because then it's one that a few months down the line, you get sick of your design, you can go change it up a lot easier than what you could in past games and in a preset city. So yeah, I've been enjoying the game a lot so far too. I'm interested to see what will come in the coming months and all that with it. It'll be one. Abby and I will officially buy it probably right around the same time my GameFly trial is up, if we don't send it back for a different game, because we have until the start of May. So we'll probably pick it up some point soon. So, and then Connor, you're kind of more of the outside looking in with it, since you haven't played as much, but I mean, you've enjoyed it too, as more of an outsider, and then your brief time playing it as well.
Absolutely. I've played 10 minutes, and I spent probably 7 of those minutes picking weeds. M does not mind just letting them stay there for days and days at a time. But they bother me so much. Just get them
Well,
out
also
of the way.
it's just easy money.
Yeah.
Exactly. But she wants to keep them there because she's afraid that she's just gonna spend it all at once. But I mean, she's got whatever, like 50,000-60,000 bells, probably more, since I think she was playing just now for an hour or so. Yeah, but it's fun that I get to watch her create her home from the ground up, and she's doing very creative things by having makeshift parks
Yeah.
throughout her island and stuff like that. And she really takes an interest in that. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with the terraforming.
Yeah, for sure. What's been fun too is there's a website that you can upload your own images, or like images you download from the internet, and put them in the game. Because then it makes a QR code, and then you scan it on the Nintendo app, and so there's a bunch of memes in there already. Like when you go into Blake's, it's a bunch of these of
Oh my
memes.
gosh.
It's like a council. But like I on the website, one of the more popular ones is Lego Yoda's like icon from Lego Star Wars. So if you go to my island, in like my like doormat is just Lego Yoda just sitting there in front of the door. But yeah, so you can take in. So it's one that if you don't want to take the time, like if Johnny wanted to put up an image from like one of his favorite shows, and like it would be a little bit too hard to make himself on the creator, he can just go to that website, upload it, and then it'll be there. And so then he can put it on his shirt or on his wall or whatever. And so we've done that. And then Abby also has designed a few things for her and I. So it's that, just the whole creative side has just been a ton of fun to see.
How far does that go? Like, is it able to recognize what the image is and then say, no, this is like,
you can go. So in mine, I've only uploaded 3 images. I've done the Lego Yoda I got from that website. I uploaded a Panthers logo for Abby, and then I got one of the Stephon Diggs when he's making the catch in the Minneapolis Miracle when the Saints player is like hitting his other player. Mm-hmm. And so they're like blurry, so you can't like it. Each image is different, but like the Diggs one, you can kind of like if you know that image, you can kind of see it. But I'm sure Nintendo's trying to figure out some sort of way to take legal action because people are just like uploading like copyright images. Mm-hmm. But
I was going to get more on the borderline inappropriate side of things. Would it be?
Oh, I'm sure there's inappropriate stuff on there too. And yeah, I don't know how much they can do to counteract it. Unless people go and report it. But well, yeah, but yeah, I've been having a ton of fun so far, and I'm excited to see what's going to come. Especially since there's reasons to play it at different times because there's certain fish you can't get in March. There's certain bugs you can't get in July and all that. So it'll be fun to see what it's looking like down the road when some of the different fish and all that are appearing and that new stuff you can get.
Exactly. Yeah. They've always got something to reel you in.
Exactly. So that would wrap up our topic for this week, and we can now move into our recommendations, which Connor was last week's recommendation. So we had it with Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." So Connor, why don't you kind of go over why you picked this, and then we'll discuss it.
I picked this one because we were on the topic of music last week, and I wanted to stick with music. And this album I've kind of been obsessing over for the last few months. I've listened to it a couple times a month for the past several months, just because I absolutely love its content. I absolutely love his voice. It's a concept album that was recorded mainly in 1970 and a little bit into 71 and was released in 1971. And it basically tells a story of a Vietnam War veteran coming home from, that conflict overseas in Vietnam and still seeing hatred and injustice and poverty within our own walls here. And so he just wanted to talk about that. And he was finally talking about some serious issues, even though he's mainly known for his fun, cutesy pop and R&B stuff. And this one, he was actually touching on, serious issue. Like not everyone can pay the bills all the time, and that's life. And he's one of the first people to touch on ecological issues back in that time, because no one was talking about that back then. And so I wanted to share this wonderful album with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the crazy part about it is, obviously, he's such a big part of just the Motown scene and music in that era. But it's crazy how, like, a lot of the stuff in this music is still like in the lyrical content is still relevant today.
Yeah,
40 years later, 50 years later, like it's crazy. Like it's been almost 50 years since this album came out, and it's like you could have released the same thing, like some of these same things today, and it's still things that are going on with people coming home from war or anything like that. So
I'll interrupt you real quick, and then we can get back into it. What's incredible is I hadn't thought about it before, but I did some research this week, and I realized he not only wrote most of that, he also played a lot of different instruments. Like, I had no idea he was a drummer, and he did some of the drumming in the album, in the music. And this was like probably the biggest production he had. I think up to that point, it was his 11th studio album, but I think it would still be safe to say it was like his most heavily produced album, because he had entire symphonies and stuff, entire orchestras, coming in for that music. And I really think that, like, he was always known as one of the better Motown performers, but this kind of solidified forever his chops.
Yeah, him being like the king of Motown. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, what's the thing about like him doing this stuff with like social justice and political commentary and social commentary is stuff that we've seen today with in hip hop and rap and R&B with Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, Beyonce. All of them like can really thank this album as one that's done it. And I've always been one, like, I'm not someone who goes and like listens to Marvin Gaye every day or like a couple times a month like you may have, but it's still someone that I've appreciated, even if like R&B isn't always my go-to genre of music. Like it's one that I can always appreciate, like especially like what someone like he has done for it. And so it was fun.
At least understand the reputation.
Exactly, because I've heard most Marvin, a lot of his big songs before too, but I can't tell you if I've ever listened to a full album before this one. So it was a good recommendation. Definitely one that caught me a little off guard when you said it, because I was like, oh, we're gonna do an album, okay. But yeah, it was definitely a one that was worth the recommendation.
Awesome, I'm glad to hear that.
So it's hard for me to say really anything that Luke didn't already say, but I will say that I did really appreciate the fact that it was like Luke said, it was very serious, but it was a wholesome way to kind of and a bit of like there were serious topics, but it was definitely it wasn't like trying to beat me over the head. It
wasn't super depressive either.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't still depressing. A warm delivery.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a lot of heart there, and not just in what he was saying, but in how he was saying it, which is definitely important, because I think a lot of people are going to listen, and a lot more people are going to be invested if you're talking about something serious, but saying it in a way that's like, I just want people to be happy. You can't hate on the guy that's like, I just want us all to be happy. You can, however, hate on the guy that's like, let's get it together. Come on, people. But he wasn't doing that. And I really appreciated that. I also am not a huge R&B fan, or I've never really been Marvin Gaye has never really been somebody that I've sought out to listen to, but this was really interesting because it's not something that I typically would listen to, but like I'm really glad that we have these recommendations so I can have the like opportunity to kind of have this kind of nerd homework and listen to or view or whatever. But in this case, listen to somebody that I hadn't or otherwise never would have. And with him being as iconic as Luke said he was, like it's important that a lot of people do, because it's easy to forget how big names like Marvin Gaye can or have how it's easy to forget how big names like Marvin Gaye have influenced music today. So
Yes. I definitely agree that like people will turn away from the people that are preaching the end of the world, but with Marvin's buttery voice and his smooth delivery and how each song just slowly transitions into the next. It's just an amazing delivery of an important message right into your home when you're not even expecting it, and you're just sitting down listening to some smooth buttery vocals.
Yeah. Luke, what would you rate this?
Since we're not as much, more of a serious one, I'll do like a 9 out of 10. Just a normal, good, not any like 9 songs about police brutality out of like
Well, I'm just gonna say 8 out of 10 wholesome vibes.
There you go.
All right, wholesome vibes. I dig it.
So that means then that it is Johnny's turn again for another recommendation. So in the past you've done a couple demos. Do you have another demo for us this time, or do you have something different?
I was really trying to think of what I wanted to do, and I think I'm gonna stick with the demo routine
Vibe.
that I've got going. Yeah. So this demo is called Octopath Traveler, and it is an RPG. And you it's stylized to look like an old time 90s RPG game. And you first start out and you're given a brief description of 8 different characters, and you get to choose which of those 8 characters you want to play as. And their stories will all connect in various ways, and you'll live your life through that character, and they have, I mean, their lives are vastly different from one another, so everybody's gone through something different. So whoever you choose, it'll be somebody different from the next one. But I've never played the full game myself. I've only played the demo myself, and it's been a game that's on my list to buy for so long. And so I'm going to replay it. I'm going to hear what you guys think. And yeah, it's a good game that's definitely it's a good RPG, and it's got a really good story from what I've seen. And the fact that they're able to weave these stories, these 8 different people, within each other's stories is something that's really interesting to me. And also the fact that you can replay the game 8 times and get a completely different experience is really interesting. So yeah, that's it's called
it's a
Octopath.
Square Enix game.
Yeah,
So
Octopath Traveler, and it's on the Nintendo eShop. The demo is so.
Yeah, so what's funny about that one is like I know a little bit about the game. I'm not much of an RPG guy, so like I don't know as much about the mechanics, like you said. But I think my favorite about that game though was when it was in development. Its like working title was Project Octopath Traveler, and then they were like, yeah, we'll just call it Octopath Traveler. Then like it wasn't like Sonic Forces was Project Sonic 2017. Like okay, like that was its working title, like the NX for the Switch. But they were just like, that's a good enough title. Let's just take off Project. But yeah, I mean, it's like as someone who like doesn't care much for RPGs, with it being a Square game, you almost knew that it was going to be like some sort of decent RPG game, because like they've done Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and all these other big ones. So, but
and I would recommend the 2 of you, if whoever plays it first, let the other one know which character you chose, and then I would recommend that the other person does not choose the same character. That way you can kind of have 2 different experiences. So like I said, there's 8 choices, but I want to see what you guys think from the one that you chose from those 8. So
I'm gonna coordinate with Luke and choose the same character just to spite you.
Okay, all right.
I'm looking forward to that game. I would never play these games if it wasn't for the recommendations. And I know we've already said it. We're going to continue to beat that dead horse, but it just shows how valuable these recommendations are to help us branch out. So yeah, looking forward to that. And with that, I guess we can wrap up another, coronavirus pandemic episode.
So, many more to come, apparently.
Oh yeah, many more to come.
Yeah, true. Well, at least another month of social distancing. Hopefully, we get some more things. The nice thing is next week I will be able to talk to you guys about the Tide of the Tasmanian Tiger HD port, because that comes out on the Switch on March 31st, and I think you still have a couple days if you want to save a few dollars if you purchase it through the Kickstarter. So anyone who's listening to this won't help them. But if you're purchasing through the Kickstarter, I think you can save a few, like $5. Because it's coming out. It's coming out first on the Switch on Tuesday, and then it'll come out at some point later, probably in like the summertime on the PS4 and the Xbox One. But yeah, it looks like you can still purchase it. So it would be $25. I want to say if you pre-order it on the $25 instead of $29.99. So you can save $5 if you get it now. So I'm looking forward to that. That was a game I liked a lot as a kid, so it'll be fun to play. I know on the Switch they're gonna have motion controls with the Joy-Con, so if you have the left Joy-Con, it'll throw your left boomerang. And so it's gonna be fun to play that again, especially because our disc was scratched up a little bit, so I haven't been able to play through the full game in a long time. So I'm excited that yeah, it'll be a nice change of pace then too from Animal Crossing and Octopath Traveler demo. So that's what we can do. But yeah, there's not a whole lot that's gonna be going on. I do know the Sonic movie is going to be coming out to digital platforms soon, so I can show it to Abby.
Finally.
Yeah, so it comes out digitally because that's one thing I guess we can always touch on is we're getting movies early digitally now. Sure. But tune in next week to figure out what that all might be.